This is a show about facing fear, unlocking courage, and taking action.
Courage isn't necessarily a daunting thing.
It's going to give you more purpose. It's going to give you more drive.
It feels like making a courageous decision is going to get you closer to who you aspire to be.
It's knowledge plus faith plus action equals courage.
We all make mistakes. We all have opportunities to grow. This is a normal thing. And here you are, not judging, but coming in as a guide on the side, partner, teammate. I noticed something that I think might really be helpful for you. Is now a good time to talk it through.
Today makes me happy. Like, these type of shows make me happy because I'm prepared, but I love my guest. Like, actually, this entire episode we're going to call the 3 L's. Okay, there's loneliness, there's when you're lost, and then there's love. And I love my guest. I met my guest. Gosh, I probably met my guest during the COVID days, and it was like, oh, this is simpatico happening here. I'm joined by Molly Tschang. Some of you may remember her. She's been on the show before. You've got too many things. Like, you're like me. You're a juggler. She is a master juggler. She has Say It Skillfully. She has a LinkedIn learning course. She has a TEDx talk. She has a new book coming out next year that she's writing with Marshall Goldsmith, which I want to talk about. And above all of that, above being an amazing content machine, and I think when you say that, it could be misconstrued because the purpose of why you do it all is why I love you. And you have this line, I think, on your website, Molly, that says, you envision a world where we win as one. People speak without fear and feel heard. And win as one. Like, sign me up. I am in. Like, let's get going. That is the opposite of the first L of lonely. So, hi, I miss you. How are you?
I'm so fabulous. I'm grateful to be joining you today, Ryan, and the love is mutual.
All right, we have to start with the obvious question, which is, being a team player like you are you a doubles tennis player or a singles player?
This is a great question. So I love all things tennis. I am a native singles player. I'm going to learn to play doubles so I can be a better singles player. So it's kind of hilarious for the people who really know how to play doubles. I'm like the singles person in the doubles, like playing doubles. Like, I'll start to cross and I'll go back. And I'm like, no, when you cross, you have to go. You have to keep going. So the thing about tennis is lifelong learning. It is just like life. And so it's really been such a gift as an adult to kind of get into it because I didn't start till I was later in life.
See, I'm the opposite. I played when I was a kid all the time. Like, I had lessons, and
Nice.
I mean, whatever sport. I mean, was one that, like, I wanted to play. Play was, I'm down to play, right? But tennis was on the list, and then there was this middle 30-year period where, like, I did not see rackets, and then my brother our last vacation had brought a second racket, and it was like he was just getting going with it. He's like, "Will you come hit with me?" And there, the bug showed back up. And I'm not looking to join a country club and play for tournaments and work myself up the leaderboard. But I love the sweat, and I just loved hitting again. It was so much fun. So that's interesting. You're gonna go play doubles because it'll make you a better singles player.
Yeah, because, coming into the net, the hands, it's experience because in singles, you just don't get up to the net that much. So I couldn't volley at all a few years ago. So I've come a long way. But so much of that is it's like skiing. You have to get on the mountain and, like, make the runs, right? So we're going to have to do a holiday where we get to play tennis. Segue, I just came back from Mallorca because I did a bucket list item and I went to Rafa's camp. And it was unbelievable.
Wow.
Like, any tennis lover must go. And you must, like, seriously get a trainer for the 3 months before you go because it's intense.
All right. I'm gonna make you think on your feet, but you're all about Say It Skillfully. So give me the 3 leadership parallels from tennis to leadership.
Oh, see, I think this is so easy. Thank you for that. So leading starts with leading yourself first. And in tennis, there's many ups and there's many downs. And if you don't kind of get in control of yourself, you just hand the racket to your opponent. Like, stop playing and just give them the racket, because it's never going to go well. So you absolutely have to be able to lead yourself first. And I think that the idea of, leading is appreciating, and how do you relate to the other person? Well, in this case, you're trying to not hit to their strengths, trying to hit to their weaknesses. But the point is, you have to know the opponent, and it takes time and it takes observation to figure out where people are at. And then I think, this notion of win is won, when you think about a match, if I'm getting beat fair and square and I'm doing my best and I'm getting beat, that's a great game, right? So you want to be able to play the game where you're bringing out the best in each other, and like, may the best man or woman win. And that's like, all day we'll do that. We'll do that all day.
You're taking me back to Andre Agassi's book Open, and there's like so many amazing visual scenes of like, we just did that, we did that, and I kind of miss that. I kind of miss, I come out of advertising, and so I've always been in. I've enjoyed competition, but it feels different. It felt subjective, where I think sport was, hey, I'm never going to be mad. If you got my best shot and you beat me, I will shake your hand. Bravo. That was awesome. And we'll do it again tomorrow, or we'll do it again next week. There's just something about it. And I do wish there was more of that in the workforce.
I think that that's a really great point. I think that's why so many folks, and I just think that there's something about sport that just helps you really be real. And there's no gaming it. The score is the score. I mean, sure, people can call, in shots out. I mean, there's that kind of stuff, but it's pretty pure, and they have coaching on court coaching now, but for the longest time you were out there and it was you, and you had to like problem solve and figure it out, because there wasn't really anyone that you were going to turn to other than like look in the mirror. So I think that win is one thing, that notion, I use it, in business, because it is about the championship teams, because they always win because they play for each other. You can't get to that level, and you can't prevail at the very end if you're kind of trying to do it for yourself. And I find it kind of funny, because there's a lot of men in the workforce. And then Monday morning, like all weekend long, you're cheering for your team and you're playing for each other. And then Monday, you're coming in and you're telling everybody what to do. And I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, do you not know what you just cheered on Saturday and Sunday? And then Monday, it just goes away. It cracks me up.
Well, I do wonder, to your point, I think there's more intelligence. I think we're getting more educated on the power of coaching, on the power of like having someone that has my back, the training side. Are you seeing that across your businesses?
What do you mean by the training? Mean people getting coaching?
Yeah. Do you see like more leaders stepping into coaching, or do you think it's the same?
I don't have a metric for it. What I would say is, I think it's great where there are professional coaches that you hire. I think to be a great leader, to be a mediocre leader, you just have to be a good coach. I mean, that's kind of what big component of leadership is. And take nothing away from folks who are expert and certified in coaching, because there's absolutely a space for that. But I think that that's something that, you're raising kids. I mean, you're like coaching your kids. I mean, that whole idea of unleashing performance, helping people problem solve on themselves, helping them see themselves in a way that they don't. So I just think it as a super vital skill, period.
So again, let's go to the first L of my three L's here, which is loneliness. And I think COVID didn't help, but I do feel the higher up people seem to get in an organization, often the more lonely they feel. And you can sort of peel this back and understand some of it. Like one day you're chummy with someone at work, and you've both put in the time, and then one of the two of you gets the promotion, and then suddenly things get a little, there's a space between the two. Or the higher up you get, the more you're just worried about the fear. Are you seeing this level of, hey, it can be very lonely to be you as a leader?
Yeah, I think it can absolutely be super lonely. I don't think it needs to be. Now, I agree with you. You were chummy, and people are like, oh no, everything's the same. Like, no, everything is not the same. You're now hiring and firing. It's not the same. It doesn't make it bad. I wouldn't judge it, but it's not the same. And so I think that the opportunity for people is to cultivate the community whereby you have people who can understand what it's like for you, which is why groups like YPO or CEO roundtables, but other people who are doing similar things, who can be a support group, can be an empathetic ear, and really kind of get you. So that takes some effort, right? So if you're just plugging away in your business, dealing with only your people and never looking out, then I think it can feel super lonely. Cultivating those different environments, though, I think, first of all, it's great. That's how you learn continuously, right? But it's also, I think, imperative because we're social creatures, and to be able to invest in others and others invest in you. So you really get to know the person. So 5 and 10 and 15 years later, when stuff happens, like I've got context for Ryan's life. I'm like, dude, that happened 8 years ago. I saw you do this, now you're doing that. And you have these confidants who feel that they have a responsibility to you because they have a long-term relationship, and they've got street cred for you to actually wait a second. Maybe I should listen to her because she's been with me a long way. And that's something I would say for people earlier in their career, and I wish I did it. Just cultivate some of those just super gems. All along different jobs, there's these super gems. And if you don't intentionally keep track, you lose them. And I had earlier in my career, I didn't do as good a job of that. And I would implore people to focus on that, because I just said it to a dear friend of mine yesterday. It's just so enriching when you have these relationships that go the distance, and you can be you and put it out there, and they can do the same. It doesn't get any better.
That's a 5-set relationship right there. You want to hold on to those relationships. We've been talking quite a bit about speak up cultures. Had a few guests on. Shed, we just had Shed on. He actually had reported, or he worked with Simon Sinek for quite some time. And so, but the speak up culture, I mean, this concept of loneliness isn't just for leaders. I think people, when they feel they're in a culture where they feel like they can't speak up, whether they can or can't, they feel like they can't speak up, creates distance between leaders and everybody else. How would you go about addressing that situation if you are in an organization and you are not the leader? And I know I think you just had like a YouTube video about this exact same conversation, right? You've got the Say It Skillfully resources. What's
Right.
what's the YouTube channel?
There's the Say It Skillfully YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and Say It Skillfully. All those resources are there. And I think, to your point, the number one thing is so many people, they really think it's not possible to speak up. Like literally, it's like, I can't. And for sure, and we quote Alan Mulally, if you say I can't, a good chance you can't. If that's really you're going in, that's the inner bubble dialogue that you have going on, you're making it a lot harder, right? And I'm not here to be naive or too Pollyanna-ish about it, but to your point about safety, I mean, the leaders I know really want to know the truth. They do not wake up saying, God, I hope everyone lies to me and just flicks up to me so that I can't really know what's going on, because there's no way they run a great business that way. And I think that that's where this all part of the problem and all part of the solution, without judging people and making them good or bad. But we have to own, if something isn't right and we see it, but we don't say anything, hey, that's on us. I'm not saying you have to speak up, but I do want to create some accountability. You have to own saying, you know what, I'm letting this disconnect perpetuate. I'm a part of the issue. You don't have to do it, but I want people to own that. Don't be like, oh, over there, everybody over there. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. If everybody starts with themselves and the 1 inch or 2 inches they can move forward, this whole thing, we can start to break through. So I think this idea of first understanding, and it's, when I ask, well, I can't say that, because let's talk about it. When did someone say something? What did they say? And did they get fired? It's like, well, okay, wait a second. So you have to is that really the situation for your environment? And it's okay. Are you kind of manufacturing that in your head because maybe you're a little insecure, or you don't, feel so confident or what have you? And it's okay, but just own that and say, okay, so is that something you're making up? Hey, does that serve you? We all have fears. We all are kind of scared. So what is it going to take? You don't have to go become like a amazing Tony Robbins public speaker. Maybe it's just having that one chat with someone that felt a little edgy, but you're just going to go there and put it out there, right? One step.
I think it's easy to talk about and hard for many to do. And to your point, you said that it becomes like a broken loop, and you never get around to the conversation. And it happens on both sides, right? The leader probably is keeping something on the inside. That's why they feel alone. And maybe someone has something to say, but they're afraid they're going to lose their job if they say it. And so they never say it. I keep coming back to this concept, and my little courage levers here: knowledge plus faith plus action equals courage. And I wonder if sometimes when you know something and you feel it, but you never say it, you never take action on it, and it just sort of builds and it builds, and it leads you to be really frustrated. And I wonder if that's also sort of the path to feeling lost, because you didn't have the courage to take action on it. You didn't have the courage, or you didn't never found the right way to say, "Hey, do you have a minute? This seems messed up to me." And that's a terrifying moment where your heart wants to jump out of your chest. But
Right.
is that part of the reason why some people are feeling lost?
I think that this gets to this relationship with myself, right? So it's just being able to articulate, what am I feeling? It's easy. Well, my boss, this, that. Okay, well, okay, that's great. What's going on for you? And when you ask someone what's going on for them, well, I'm working on this or I'm doing that. I'm like, no, how do you feel? And not to be like a big psychotherapist here, but that ability to understand what is my experience. Can I articulate it? And I think for babies, young kids, right, there's a lot of crying because they actually don't know what's going on. But as adults, if you're not kind of getting some coaching and help from folks to help you understand what you're going through and to name it, if you don't have it, awareness of it, you can't work with it. And if you can't work with it, you can't overcome it, right? Or be better for it. And that is very frustrating. So I think that a lot of, whether it's your coaching, your therapy, but when someone can help you to start to express and you can hear yourself, we've all done this. We're like, wow, and you just kind of you just needed to hear yourself say it. And then you're like, that's what's going on for me. Okay, great. What do you want to have happen? What do you need? If I took everything away, like, what is going to help you? And then people can be empowered, because you need to ask for what you need. It is not somebody's job to like mind read. Well, I know, Ryan, this is what Ryan needs. Like, all day long, you're going to be unhappy.
Well, in some ways, we're back to this tennis concept here, right? Because you want to play your game,
You want to play your
right?
game.
You want to play your game. You need to know your strengths. You need to know where you're best at. You're not just reacting and responding to every ball that comes over the net. Next thing you know, you're playing at the net, even though you probably don't want to be up there. And when you wait and respond, maybe that's part of this feeling of being lost versus taking it to maybe part of the volley, right? It takes more than one. And you talk about this concept of shared reality. Can you kind of give color to what you mean by that?
But this shared reality is the number one thing missing in any organization anywhere in the world, of any size or shape. And the idea is shared reality it is not just the objective facts of a situation. It's also the human experience, how people feel, where they're at, right? The emotional state of folks. And I remember hearing a leader once who was from the military say, emotions have no role in decision making. I'm like, well, how about let's talk to the folks who make Hermès scarves. Do you think they're worried about how emotional people feel about wearing a $500 scarf? I think they are. So I think that idea of acknowledging that both components are really part of our reality and that we're all in our own head. So I have reality. We're on the same Zoom, but we're having a different experience of it. I think mine is right because that's what I know. You think yours is right because that's what you know, which is fine. For teams, if we're not articulating our senses of reality, we're never bubbling up that, we don't have the same view of it. We're in a customer meeting and one guy thinks the customer is so ticked off. The other one thinks that they're super happy. But if someone doesn't somehow bubble up, hey, how would you rate? The customer's fine. Well, is that a 9 fine or is that a 5 fine? Well, for me, it's a 9. For me, it's a 5. Interesting. Why would you say the customer is a 9 happy? So when you start to be able to get a bit more specific, then you can start to see we are or we are not on the same page. And if you don't have an accurate shared reality, you do not make the best decisions. You do not execute with speed. And you do not achieve your greatest outcomes. The end. And to make it personal, let's just say you think you're awesome. Your boss doesn't think you're so awesome. You think you should be promoted. Your boss is like, I don't see it. And so unless you really have an open-hearted conversation, you will be waiting for a promotion that your boss has no intention of ever giving to you. It doesn't go well.
Again, and if both sides are keeping that in, what is the advice that you would give, because someone's got to serve at some point, right? And someone's got to serve it up at some point. How do you get someone to at least play the game and come in and, hey, how do we get to a shared reality?
Yeah. So I think this is the why. And so when we're in an organization, it's not about each individual. We're about what's really serving the whole. Alan Mulally would call it the greater good. And so, here we are. We really want to help this customer use our equipment in the best way. And the only way we're going to do that is if we're really clear on where they're at. And so you have to realize that if that's what we're all here in this organization to make it thrive, that's number one. We all have to do things that are going to help us effectively because we don't benefit. If the organization doesn't stay around and profit and grow, like we're not going to have jobs. So I think that that's the why. And so that's where I think, and not that the work should be the center of the universe, you should have unbelievable purpose, but having some sense of connection to what a company does or how you belong, I think really is an opportunity to create. And, we have to go back to Gary Ridge because, they make solvent spray in a can. But if you ask them their mission, we create positive, lasting memories for all of our stakeholders around the world. There's no solvent spray. And that is not, they're not in the solvent spray business. So I think that's where the leaders can realize, like, what is our collective why? And how do I make sure people, who are here buy into it, and that people kind of get why we're here and how we're helping each other grow, and together 1 and 1 is 11. I mean, who doesn't want to be part of 11? Who wants 2 or 3? You want 11.
So I'm curious if you, well, one, I mean, I'm moving on to the third L, which is love. On a scale of 1 to 11, you brought the 11 out. On a scale of 1 to 11, 11 being epic, 1 being, ugh, how much do you love what you do?
I am at like 10.5. There's like 0.5%, half a number, but this is what brings me so much satisfaction and fulfillment because I feel like I have meaning in what I do for folks. And so, yeah, it's work and I slog it out, right? I have a consultancy that I've been running, right? Which is great, but I started to say it skillfully out of nowhere the last 5 years. It's been a labor of love, like slogging it out, labor of love. But for me, it really lights me up when I work with people and they're like, oh, I can be me at work. Like, yes, you can be you at work. And in a way that works for the organization, right? I'm not asking folks to be defiant and kind of having it my way or the highway, but I feel very lucky to have figured out kind of strengths and weaknesses of what I do. And then like why I think it matters, right? I mean, I worked on this passion and purpose statement. So in one word, my passion is ignite, right? And with heart, creativity, and compassion, I inspire myself and others to have the courage to be true to ourselves, dream big, and harness the wow power of us so that together we're a force of nature and anything is possible. Like, I love unleashing human potential. I'll do it all day long.
How do you help leaders when they hear that from you for the first time? How can you not gain energy from that? It's like, how many are skeptical? How many are terrified? How many are you like, yes, finally? Like, give me the pie chart of responses.
So this is where I would call our friends Marshall and Ellen. And so they were always about client selection. And so I'm all about working with the willing. If things resonate,
Totally.
that's great. If I'm convincing you that your people matter and gosh, it'd be great if they were able to speak up without some fear. I mean, if I'm going to convince you, that's okay. I don't make them wrong or bad. I think it's a good fit. It's not a good fit.
I don't even believe in, like, my job is not to convince you of anything. So, I have my weekly dose of courage. It's like, I see your content and I'll raise you with my content and you'll raise me with yours. It's a nice, the tennis metaphor continues, right?
Exactly.
And this past week I was on vacation and my daughter is now 8 years old and we went to Jungle Jim's water slide. And in her mind from last year, there was a slide called the Anaconda that there was no way she was going on. And you can imagine being 8, you can imagine being 7 and seeing this slide, this raft being spit out of an anaconda's mouth. There's zero chance that my suit's going on that. I can't say anything, right? And and I'm giving away the weekly dose of courage, but the basis of it was we're waiting in line for the family friendly ride. We're in the middle, we're like halfway up the stairs, and I'm holding her. She's like, "No way, Daddy, I'm not going on it. It's too scary." And like very evenly, very calmly. I'm holding her now. I just turn around on the stairs. And I'm like, wow, that's the bottom of the ride right there. Like, this is literally the tone. That's the bottom of the ride right there. See how it winds around? And it reminds me of the ride you love at Great Wolf Lodge. No emotion, unemotional, calm, sharing. And she looks at it and you can start to see her processing. And she goes, okay, Daddy, I'll go on, but only if you go on it with me. And it was like out of nowhere. And like my job was not to convince her of anything. It was to give her information where she might convince herself. And I do think that's part of the nudging. Like, where does that fall and say it's skillfully?
Yeah, you're empowering people. You're helping them make an informed decision. You're not forcing them to make it. And, I just think listen, I'm good. When you're like, it was clear. You're like, you want to go on the ride, great. If you don't want to go on the ride, great. You're like, daddy's good. Daddy is good. No vested thing, right?
But I wanted that ride to be our shared reality, and I'm glad it was. And guess what? The minute we get spitting out the bottom of the serpent, that was awesome, Daddy. Let's do it again. So, in the spirit of courage, it's like, yeah, that's courage does breed courage. I was so proud of her for going through with it. And by the way, it wasn't in the moment. I'm like, oh, a weekly dose. It was just like pure joy that she went through it. And I kind of think we're back to love. Like, I find myself saying with some of the leaders that I'm working with that sometimes it requires tough love. And tough by itself, you're a jerk. But tough love, if it's clear where you're coming from, that you're coming from a place that you care and you can deliver news in a way that they know this is here to try to make everyone better. And so you can see something that maybe you don't. And I love when leaders give me permission to do that. How do you know for you when it's time? Like, do you just like, how fast can I give the information to the willing? I mean, everything is nuance and notes, right? But how do you
Yeah.
know when you're with a leader that's open to that type of feedback?
So I think you ask, right? And I think so. I've really talked to so many people. I don't know that person, So I get it. You don't have a relationship with that person, or it's very, very new, but you're seeing something that's really potentially holding them back, or something that they need to hear. So they would be better if they knew. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, let's reverse the roles. If someone out there had something that could really be helpful to you, would you want them to share it with you? Oh yeah. Okay. Well, great. So a spirit of generosity. Would you rather be generous or stingy with what you think? So it's a little bit of helping people see it in a way, because I think that's part of this whole, especially I think performance conversations are sometimes hilarious. Oh my God, I can't tell them. I'm thinking you have a chance to help someone grow and be better. Okay, grow and be better. What could be better than helping someone grow and be better? Now, if you come in at saying I'm being a critical jerk face, telling them how bad they are, yeah, I could see how that sort of feels like a downer. How about though realizing we all make mistakes, we all have opportunities to grow. This is a normal thing. And here you are, not judging, but coming in as a guide on the side, partner, teammate. I noticed something that I think might really be helpful for you. Is now a good time to talk it through? I don't know.
Buckle up.
But
Buckle
people
up.
and people are like, "What?" I'm like, "Yes," and they're like, "Let me go talk to the person." I'm like, "Great, go talk to them." So this is this notion though, and this is the internal thing. Well, I mean, if you go all high and mighty and you're so awesome and they're so horrible, of course it's not going to feel great. But that's not what you want, is it? No. So be clear. So to your notion of leaders saying, and I've worked with folks, hey, I've seen you for an hour in action, so I am not pretending to know you or the context at all. So you just set it up there. Here's just something I'm observing, and I'm just sharing for you if it's of any use to you. And people, and you're out there. When someone gives you that gift, they're like, "Oh my God, thank you so much!" Because for a lot of folks, that takes a lot of courage. For me, it would take a lot to not say something. I would feel bad. I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, this person," it's like someone has broccoli in their teeth. You don't let them walk around with broccoli in their teeth.
Totally.
Like, do a chunk of broccoli in your teeth.
I am the first person to be like, you have a poppy seed in your teeth. If you just ate a bagel, I will be the first one to be like, third tooth to the left. And it's all love. It's not about me.
And they know it's all love. And they're so
Yeah.
great, because who wants to walk around with poppy seed in their mouth?
This might come off the wrong way. I'm going to set this up that way, but this is how I'm putting this through my lens, and so I'm curious to hear if it lands with you. I find that sometimes it's almost the wrong way to say it, but in the spirit of saying it skillfully, maybe you can help me say it better. I have said recently that sometimes you have to care and not care at the same times. And it's not throwing away the not care part. It's like I deeply care that I want to help you, and I have to be okay with you might not receive the information perfectly. And I'm sure it could be more nuanced, but we will get there faster if we have this conversation. Now, again, I feel like a bull in a china shop even saying it to you. So I'm curious, like, what is your first reaction to this idea?
Well, I think that's fantastic. I think so this is the thing. People often obsess, and I think this is why communication might seem scary and really challenging, because I have to say it exactly perfectly. And if I don't say it exactly perfectly, it's just going to crash and burn. I would offer two things. If you understand like the relationship you want to have with this person, that's kind of underlying. It's two human beings connecting. And then how do you best set the stage for that person so that you can be received the way you want? Mind you, haven't said anything yet. Those two things, then you're 80% because they're going to feel the caring. You may stumble and stutter, but they're going to know that it's also not that easy for you to do that, but you're willing to go there because that's how much you believe in them and what you want to say to help them and to help you. And when you show up with that bit of vulnerability, right? If you're stumbling a little, they know that, but they're also respecting that because you're like, I know that wasn't necessarily that easy to do. And obviously you felt the need that it was something I really needed to hear. And that's hopefully how they'll respond. Now, if they melt down, you know what? You did the best that you could do. You did what you thought was right to the best of your ability. And that's it. You're at peace with that. You can't control how people absorb it because at the end of the day, it is about their relationship with themselves. That's not your job.
I feel like I'm on the Say It Skillfully podcast, not you on the Courageous podcast, which I'm totally fine. And I actually want to like over the last 5 years, I know you didn't stumble into this, but like you said, you just started to kind of move into the Say It Skillfully land. And now you have the Say It Skillfully podcast. You have the Say It Skillfully video series. You've got the book coming out with Marshall that I want to talk about. I have one other question for you first. And you also have the Say It Skillfully one-on-one learning course, which I want to hear where we can go see that and work through that. What do you do when you have, this is me on your podcast, by the way. Okay, I'm on your podcast now. What do you do? What do you do when you have clearly a wounded leader? It's like touch the hot stove and is now completely changing their game because they're wounded. And maybe they feel it, but no one said it to them. They're just so afraid. What do you do in that scenario?
So this is like someone needs healing. And listen, we have to help people to help themselves. And you can't help someone who doesn't want help. And so I think the opportunity is helping to that person just to articulate, like, where are you? What's going on for you? How are you feeling with no judgment, no good, bad, right, wrong? What's the space you're in? Hey, I've noticed it's been tough. What are you observing objectively? And then let them go. And I think that permission to be vulnerable, that permission to say, well, I feel really, insecure about this. This is really bumming me out. I've got this going on at home. And, if you think about work and life, I mean, it's all one thing. It's our lives. And I think helping people come to grips with themselves is the first part because that's me. And if I can't kind of get out of my own way, I'm not going to be a great leader for an organization. So then, I think then becomes okay. So what needs to happen so you feel good about yourself? Because it's going to be hard for other people in the team to feel great about themselves because that's kind of the energy you're exuding, right? And so you have to help people figure out at the end, we're here to serve the greater good, right? This is not about the top dog. It's about the organization. So hopefully there's things that you think, what do you need? What's going to help you? Or maybe someone needs to move on. Who knows?
Well, I like the space. I like providing the space in a non-judgment free way. But I also feel sometimes I think we're mirrors. So I have to, if I'm vulnerable with myself, it might give you permission to see that as an opportunity to be vulnerable back. And by the way, we've all seen it when people are not vulnerable and you're like high and mighty. Guess what the response is going to be on the other side as well. So just holding that line. I I love the platform you're building. It seems like it's multiple platforms now, but how much, first of all, give me the lowdown on the book and how did this come to be and when is it coming out? And is it called Say It Skillfully?
Yeah. So this is so great. Thank you. So, dear Marshall, who's my honorary father, and the whole reason this thing happened, and it was a total accident because I'm really I'm an introvert. I derive my energy from within. I'm very social, but and I like to be around people, but it takes when I'm in big groups, it takes energy out of me. So I need to recharge. My sister goes out, she comes back, let's go back out again. I'm like, no, let's not go back out. We went out once and we're now in, and I'm done. So I put that one video up and it just struck a chord, 90-second video, junior person speaking up in a room full of management, like the hardest thing ever. And I thought 10 people would watch and 36,000 people watched that video. And it just took over my life. And I could just feel this latent, need that people really didn't want to be in a straitjacket, mute, silent on the sidelines, right? Whether you went to community college or you went to Notre Dame or you went to Yale or Oxford, you didn't work your butt off to kind of go and be beige in organization, right? It's just like it's the most tragic thing ever. And so I really was very passionate about it. And then Ryan, it becomes a really learning journey of me getting to know me, right? So that's what the beautiful thing. You get into these projects and it's really helping you figure out what's going on because I could not string 5 sentences together after coming out of school. Like the idea that I am actually the guru is hilarious. I mean, I didn't speak English until I was 5, and I really was just terrified. I mean, terrified. So it took off. Do you want to have a radio show? I'm like, you just want a radio. I don't even know what that means to have your own radio show. I mean, I'm just like saying yes, right? There's some proverb about, taking opportunity creates more. And then Marshall way back when was like, yeah, write a book, gotta write a book. And I was like, okay, and I kind of went through the motions, but I don't know, like, what am I writing a book about? So I kind of tabled it, and it was just straight. It was just cart before the horse. And then I came out with these assets. Like I've got a free mini course. I created the Say It Skillful. I created the LinkedIn Learning course, which is a 1-hour full thing. But then I did a complimentary Say It Skillfully 101. So was the complement dives into the skills. And I'm like on fire about this program. So I want everyone to take it because if you took it in an organization, the next day, even if people didn't do anything different, just having the context, work would do better, like 100%. So I'm rarely on fire about that because I think
Where do I go for that?
So I haven't even put it up on the website yet, but I'm going to share a link on my sayitskillfully.com website. In fact, if folks aren't on subscribers to my mailer, subscribe to my mailer. So the second it goes up, I'll let folks know. And I literally am on fire because the most important thing in your whole life is how do you find your voice, meaning how do you learn how and when to best use it? And it changes your life. And so I really want to help equip people because, Ryan's unique and you speak up in a way that Molly can't, right? Molly can speak up in a way that Bill can't. And so it really is very personal, but it is you. How you communicate is people's experience of you far more than exchanging, bits of information. So I know how empowering it is when you're like, okay, I can be me in a way that helps me come across the way I want and have the impact that I want in the world.
Talk to me about when the book's coming out.
So the book is coming out probably February, March. I'm like on fire about it. I'm so excited about it. The central part of this is the me, you, we framework, simple construct to help get in good relationship with yourself, right? So you can lead yourself first, to put yourself in others people's shoes and connect as human beings. And at the top level, who are we together? And how do we hear all the voices in the system so we can bubble up those disconnects and get to this accurate shared reality? It's going to be short and sweet, airplane ride book. I'm like totally, and so it's so funny because before it was like, I gotta write a book. It's kind of like, I gotta write a book. Now I'm like, I get to write a book. I'm barely, you can tell. I'm like, yeah, so I can't wait.
I mean, I'm happy I'm in your circle of people and that I get to learn from you. And I always do. And, you know this, and I want the listeners to know this. I mean, the times where I've run workshops and have brought you in, or you just always are clear, succinct, you add value, and you help. I think you just sort of like peace of mind, right? And I think this is you are the remedy to lost for sure. I mean, you are the remedy for lost, and you're not afraid to bring up the topic. So thank you for all that you do. I am curious. It's not about me. I think it's about a lot of us that go on the rite of passage journey of writing a book. But the irony for me is there was times where I was so lonely writing it. I was absurdly lost writing it, and I came out the other side and like was very much in love with the end product because it was never about me. It was like I wanted to help people be more courageous. And where do you need courage? Or also, I have two little ones watching every move I make, and I want them to live a courageous life. Did you have any, or have you had any like colossal ahas about yourself as you're writing the book that's like, oh my gosh, why haven't I used that before? Or why did it take me writing a book to land on X, Y, or Z?
So I wouldn't say I had colossal ahas, the book per se, but my aha has been my ability to actually know what is going on for me and to be much better at kind of modulating how I need to be to best serve. And, you know, God, I've had dark times. And most recently, you know, my parents are older and I'm doing a lot of elder care. And I was going kind of stomping the grunt, stop, 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 stop. You know, my mom pulled me aside, are you okay? And I went into the back room and I closed the door and I read myself the riot. You are one of the most blessed people on this planet. You better start acting that way, sister. I mean, I freaking ripped into myself, right? I'm like, are you kidding me? People would kill to be where you are. And I did it for like 5 minutes and then it was like, whoosh, transformed. Walked out of there smiling, on a bed of roses. Everything is awesome. Doesn't mean I don't think things could be better. There aren't hard times. There are. But I'm realizing how much I can own how I show up for myself and for all those people around me. And that's it's a privilege and it's a real responsibility. And so I take it very seriously, like how I show up. You know, when people are scared about conversations, I mean, I get it. And then I'm working with them. I said, hey, what do you think? What do you want to have happen? I'm not here to force you to do anything. You're here. I want people to feel like they can really, you know, control their destiny. They can empower themselves.
I have one last. I mean, this is we're going longer because when sometimes you feel like you're not controlling your own destiny, you talk about the human after effects of intense change, which I would like you to explain how you describe that. But for a lot of us, there is there's a change that's happening and we feel like it's happening to us and we have no say. And I think we feel debilitated, frankly, when this happens. And a lot of us feel paralysis. How do you go about helping people or leaders manage when when this happens? And what does it even look like from your lens?
So, you know, change is the constant, right? And so part of it is just one's attitude about changes. And it's easy to judge it because it's different and it's bad. So I'm not saying you can't judge change as bad. It's up to you. You kind of have to ask yourself, is it really bad? You know, it's that Taoist saying, who knows what's good or who knows what's bad? And so I just think that level of openness is a starting point. And, you know, I think it's all happening for a reason. I don't know necessarily that we'll know why, but I do think that understand what you really can influence and can control and make better. And perhaps it's a slice of that you go after. But Marshall said you have to make peace with what you really can't change. Doesn't mean you're happy about it, right? But you can't be your own worst enemy, driving yourself crazy and being miserable. I mean, you can. If you want to be miserable, you can be miserable. You know, I think that you have to make choices like, you know, maybe diving deep into the news, you know, and reading everything. Maybe that's just not that healthy for you, right? I can't watch super scary movies. I'm like, what? Super scary. I literally cannot watch super scary movies. I'm just freaked out and sleep with the lights on for a week. I don't watch them. I can't differentiate. You know, they're like, it's just a movie. I'm like, no, if they got slaughtered in the movie, I can't deal with it. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of. It was funny. I was in an elevator the other day, and this woman was just complaining about this, and I was like, I don't know, it's a pretty good elevator to me. We're going up, we're going down. And but I can see, so that helping people, like, gosh, I can tell you're really unhappy. I hope that you're happier. That's all you can do, and people, if they want to be miserable, they be miserable. And I sort of like you, I'm kind of spoiled. I mean, I don't have people around me who are yucky.
Well, keep working on that forehand. I want to figure out a way to get to where you are. Let's hit a little bit, right?
So fun.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna play you in a set. It sounds like you're going to Federer's camp. Is that where you were?
I went to Rafa's camp, but I did not.
Rafa's camp.
Yeah, I learned as an adult. So I move well because I have to move well, but I don't have. I have very good coaching. So this is another value. I have like insane coaching. So when people look at me, it looks like I didn't quite learn as late as I did. So I don't. But I can hold my own. And tennis is like this lifelong thing, right? There's always something you can improve. That's what's so great about it.
That'll be your next book. Play it skillfully instead of say it skillfully. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. All right, Molly. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you. Always good to jam. And I know I'll see you soon. See you out there. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Courageous Podcast. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts so more people can find us. See you again next week.